The storm raged across the sea, waves crashing like wild beasts against the tiny fishing boat. Just as Ayan thought he would be swallowed by the abyss, something shimmered beneath the surface. A fish unlike any other, glowing with an eerie golden light. He reached out, unaware his life was about to change forever. Ayan had been a fisherman all his life. He inherited the trade from his father, who had learned it from his father before him. The sea was in his blood, and every morning before the sun rose, he sari ki set sailor on by onto sawan. He sarain his modest boat, casting his net into the endless blue. But life had not been kind to him. The fish were scarce, and each day he returned home with an emptier net than before. The village murmured about his misfortune, whispering that he was cursed, that the ocean had turned against him. That night, as the storm raged, Ayan felt the full weight of his desperation. If he didn't return with a good catch, his family would starve. His debts were piling up, and the village merchants no longer trusted him to pay. He had prayed to the sea gods, begged the waves to grant him mercy. And then he saw it. Beneath the roiling waves, a golden light pulsed like a heartbeat. At first, he thought it was the reflection of lightning on the water, but as he peered closer, he saw the shape of a fish, larger than any he had ever seen, its scales shimmering like molten metal. Kuirkin share ari shaus, and she were ein. He had heard of such creatures in old sailors' tales, whispered in hushed voices over flickering lanterns. The enchanted fish, a being of mystery and power. Some said it brought fortune to those who caught it. Others claimed it was a curse. Ayan had no choice. He cast his net with all his strength, ignoring the storm's fury. The moment the net touched the water, the wind died, the sea stilled, and an eerie silence settled over the world. He pulled the net in, heart hammering, and found the fish inside, its golden body thrashing but silent, its eyes, deep and knowing, locked onto his. And then it spoke. Ayan staggered back, nearly toppling into the water. His hands trembled as the fish's voice echoed in his mind. "Release me, and you shall have everything you desire. Wealth, fish beyond measure, safety from the sea's wrath. But a time will come when I shall call upon you. When that moment arrives, you must answer." Ayan's first instinct was to flee, but his second? To listen. He thought of his empty nets, his starving family, the mocking laughter of the village. If this was magic, perhaps it was the answer to his prayers. "What happens if I refuse?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. The fish's glow darkened, its golden light turning a sickly green. The air around him grew thick, suffocating, and the ocean beneath him seemed to churn with unseen forces. "Then your fate shall be sealed, misery will follow you, the sea will never forgive your greed." Ayan swallowed hard. He was not a foolish man. He knew when a force greater than himself had made its claim. With a deep breath, he loosened the net and the fish slipped back into the water. The moment it vanished beneath the waves, a strange sensation washed over him. His hands tingled as if charged with energy, and the sea around him returned to its natural rhythm. And then his nets filled. By the time he returned to shore, his boat was overflowing with the largest, healthiest fish he had ever seen. The villagers gathered, eyes wide with astonishment. He had gone out in a storm and returned with more wealth than they had seen in years. That night, as Ayan counted his newfound riches, he convinced himself he had done the right thing. The fish had given him a gift. And if it ever called upon him, surely he would be ready. Wouldn't he? Months passed and Ayan's fortune only grew. He became the richest man in the village, his name spoken with reverence. Other fishermen sought his blessing, hoping some of his luck would rub off on them. But with wealth came arrogance. He no longer feared the sea. The storms never touched him, and his nets never came up empty. He began to believe that perhaps The fish's promise had been a trick, that it would never return to collect its due. Until the night of the red moon. Ayan stood on the shore, gazing at the sky. The ocean was unusually calm, the waves barely lapping at the sand. A strange unease settled in his chest, a feeling he hadn't known in months. Then he saw it, the golden fish watching him from the water's edge. But this time its glow was dimmer, its once radiant scales tinged with darkness. The debt must be paid. Ayan's mouth went dry. He had known this moment would come, but he had not prepared himself for it. "What do you want?" he asked, voice unsteady. The fish did not speak in words this time. Instead, an overwhelming vision flooded his mind. A city beneath the waves. Ruins, lost to time. Shadows moving through the water, eyes watching from the deep. A throne, ancient and waiting, and himself standing at its center. A ruler of the drowned. Ayan stumbled back, heart racing. "No," he whispered. "I never agreed to this." The fish's glow pulsed. The tide around him rose unnaturally fast, creeping up his legs. "The sea does not forget. You are ours now." Panic set in. He turned to run, but the water surged forward, pulling him under. The last thing he saw before the darkness swallowed him whole was the fish's golden eyes, watching, waiting. The next morning, the village awoke to find Ayan's boat floating aimlessly near the shore. But Ayan himself was nowhere to be found. Some said he had fled in the night, taking his fortune with him. Others believed he had been taken by the sea as punishment for his greed. But the old fisherman whispered, another story. That sometimes on stormy nights, when the waves crash angrily against the shore, you can see a golden light beneath the water, a shimmer that moves just out of reach. And if you listen closely, you might hear a voice whispering in the wind, "The debt must be paid."